What's going on, fam? Wanted to make a quick note before you hop into this conversation with Brennan. Unfortunately, we had a number of audio and video breakdowns, and as a result, we had to make a couple more edits than we normally would, which is totally fine. The conversation still came out great, and Brennan really dives deep into his story of getting into music and then later getting into Evanoff, which is it's beautiful experimental EDM bass / funk group that they created, now share incredible music, which you have got to check them out. And then now, of course, where they're heading and what they're creating as a result of COVID and what they see is possible moving forward. So definitely check it out and let us know what you think. So much love for you guys, and we will see you on the other side. Peace. What is going on? Welcome to the podcast, brother. How's it going?
Hey, man. Doing well today. Doing well.
Actually, real quick, I have a question. I'm confused a little bit. Is your name Brennan or Daniel?
This is a secret that I guess I'll unleash today. My name is Brennan. I go by Brennan. That's my middle name, though. My state name is Daniel. So that's pretty cool. That's my dad's name and his dad too. So that's kind of cool to share that. But they called me Brennan. I call myself Brennan to keep us all separate.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. So it's funny. I was about to say Brennan, and then right as I went to look at you and say Brennan, I saw Daniel. I was like, wait a second. Hold up. I don't want to get this wrong. So this is a perfect way to start this because I was under the assumption of Brennan. So, okay, got it. Brennan.
Yeah.
Brennan, it's good to have you, brother.
Yeah, man. Great to be here.
Hell yeah. What's your intention for this journey we're about to ride on?
My intention? I personally, I guess just the chance to be honest, get asked some questions and try to be honest and share what little I know. And then also, I don't know, man, I hope something good comes out of this for somebody else just by kind of hearing about that stuff. I can really only talk about my experience, which it's a shame. It's only one. But hopefully somebody can get something good out of it.
Someone's going to get something out of it. Yeah, and it piggybacks perfectly. My intention is going to be play, so I have a feeling somewhere in our play and sharing something that people are gonna get something. And worst case scenario, I always find that in these conversations, I always hear something from myself because it's great to be able to talk to another human being and hear through their life experiences and what they've been through. You can always reflect back to yourself and be like, oh yeah, I got that too.
Yeah,
and there's just this humanness about it.
For sure.
Fuck yeah. So real quick backstory, how we ended up here. So what was it? Probably about half a year ago-ish.
Yep.
So it had to have been somewhere around June, I think, June of 2019.
Yeah.
I flew into Colorado for the first time. And this was in the Denver area. Me and my then partner at the time were kind of moseying our way around downtown Denver, checking out the scenes. Actually, that was the first time. Yeah, it was the first time I went to Colorado, but it was the first time I was inside of a city like that, and you could just go to a dispensary and just pick up weed right off the streets right there. So I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
But the reason why we were actually going to Denver was because we were going to see Trevor Hall and Nako at Red Rocks.
Nice. That's so great. Sorry, we were just talking about them yesterday. That's really funny that you bring them back up, because that's great though. Yeah, and how was the show?
Wait, so did you guys? Are you talking about that show specifically, or just happened to be about
those two artists yesterday? We were just we were out here talking about we set up all our gear on the front porch yesterday, and we were just kind of doing some songwriting. We're trying to trade off weeks. So 1 week we'll go heavy on the business and the management stuff and put on that cap, and then next week we just have fun and write music. So we were out here doing that and just talking about how great songwriters they are and the message that they send out and just how cool those two are. And then of course 24 hours later now we're having a conversation about them again. It feels pretty cool.
Synchronicities all around. Yeah. No, it's full-blown synchronicity. So you actually, did you drive us there? Did you actually drive us to the Red Rocks? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you were actually
with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, you took us all the way to the top. You're like, yeah, just go right up there. So we ended up going there. It was a fantastic show. Obviously, at some point I gotten your information because you had mentioned I make music, I do keyboard and things like that. I was like, hell yes, let me get your profile. So I got your profile, and obviously however long, 6, 7, 8 months past, however long it's been, about a couple weeks ago, I'm midst a workout getting my ass kicked. And this song comes on and I'm in the middle of my reps. I'm just like, man, this shit is good. Like this shit is so fucking good. What is this? And I looked at it and the artist, it said the song's name was Golden Hour. I was like, oh, that's a sick name. And I was like, who's this by? I said Evanoff. And I was just like, Evanoff. It's like, man, that sounds so familiar, but I cannot put my finger on it. So I'm like racking my brain. Like I know a couple of artists, I know a couple of people who make music, but the people that I know personally, like I know what their names are in terms of what would you call that? Artist name? Probably your artist name.
Yeah, they can call it the artist name or moniker or alias or I don't know. There's like too many names for that word.
The alias, the avatar, the avatar.
Different names. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So I'm looking up the avatar Evanoff, and I just had this like intuitive hit. I was just like, wait a second. I remember Brennan plays keys or whatever. So I go on Instagram and I look up Brennan plays keys, and right there, like in the second or third line down or something like that, it says, you're a part of Evanoff. I'm like, no way. Hell, that's crazy. Like that was the craziest intuitive hit. I sent you a video on Instagram. I was like, bro, I was just listening to your music, craziest thing. And then I was like, yo, we have to get on a podcast. Like this just feels like fate. And here we are.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool to hear that. And that's what the music is for, man. Like, I mean, whether it's working out or whatever, it's like getting that energy, you know what I mean? Or allowing yourself to get that energy and hopefully like, yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's like the coolest thing about music. And I'm really glad that it worked for you. You know, that's what we're trying to do.
Honestly, man, I just got like chills in my body. And I felt it in my heart just thinking about like how what you guys have essentially produced, which I want to acknowledge you for, because I can't imagine just the amount of time, effort, and energy that it takes just to even get to producing a single song, meaning every single life experience you've had to have and go through. You're learning of the instruments, you're learning of how to mix it, and then getting together in a group and then taking all that and coercing into this one single song that maybe is 2, 3, maybe 3.5 minutes long. You put all this energy to it, and then someone like myself hears it and is like, my entire life is different now from simple fact that we're sitting here having this conversation. Like, I think that's just the most moving thing. And as I was like hearing you say, I was like, man, like if I could have that type of impact with like such a short period of time, like that would be really beautiful, because there is something to be said about how it leaves people. And I appreciate you, man, like putting love out into the world like that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, that's, I don't know. I felt it first, you know. I mean, like I went to a lot of concerts and had that feeling, like have both your hands up and you're just feeling the air against your skin and feeling like that emotion that's passing through the air and passing through everybody else. And then it hits you and you're there and you're alive. And dude, the opportunity to help anybody else just have that moment is so cool. So cool.
Fuck
and
yeah.
I'm doing it through my favorite thing to do in the world. Just play music. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that honestly, now I've got the goosebumps, man. I don't think you can see them, but oh man, that really touched me. Thanks, man.
Hell yeah. So where did all this begin for you? So you said you went to concerts. You've obviously had your own journey with it. Where did this start for you when you're like, oh yeah, this is a thing?
Oh man, probably like Barney. You know, like I said, like when I was like 2 years old, I would watch like Barney kid shows. I have my family who lived in Tennessee. So I'm gonna move away from this one now. Family lived in Tennessee. They were really involved in the church. You know, would go to church like Sunday morning, evening, and Wednesday nights. So I was always surrounded by that type of music and like people singing together. And then I don't know, I would like hop up on tables and sing the ABCs or like, you know, sing nursery rhymes at restaurants inappropriately. And I think my parents saw that and they never shied away from me pursuing music, which I'm really lucky. I mean, of course, like as I get older now, I think now it's a little bit different, but when I was growing up, they never discouraged me from banging on drums or playing the piano or singing too loud or whatever. So I was really lucky to just be able to adventure around and figure out what music was in different places. I moved a lot as a kid. So my stepdad was a cowboy, so I get to learn about like a lot of cool like Western music from him. not just like Western classical. He liked Western classical, but like, you know, Western cowboy tunes. My mom was very young, so she liked pop music.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man. And then once I started finding the music that I really liked, at first it was like metal and hip hop and like aggressive stuff like that. I thought it was really cool. Then like the
Nice.
dubstep thing happened. I think the first confluence, or the first concert that really influenced me though was at the Mishawaka Amphitheater, and I got to see, it was Iota, which is still to this day one of my favorite acts. It's like a duo, and they improvise every show. It's like electronic improv, super killer, very fun. Just like it's just fun to watch, regardless of what it sounds like. Just watching these guys work together like this is just amazing. And then sometimes it sounds super sick. Anyways, saw them. Big B was opening for him, Big Gigantic. He was now a really big act. And then this other guy, Vibe Squad, he was great. Anyways, it was my first time seeing electronic music and live instruments being used at the same time. I always thought it was just like, you know, there was house producers, and then like dubstep was like the new thing. And that was basically like the two flavor, and, you know, some drum and bass and stuff. But those were like the main kinds of electronic music performances that I got to see, was just DJs. And then once I saw bands doing it, oh man, lit up my world. I was like, how can I get involved in this? And through, I don't know, a lot of just like playing piano, fell in love with that. Went to school for jazz, met these guys at school, and I'm really, really lucky to have gotten the chance to join them, for sure. Sorry, I just kind of jumped through the whole thing, but yeah, that's, I guess music's just always been such a part of my life. It's always been the thing, like moving a lot. Like I mentioned, it was always the thing I could take with me, was like, you know, my CDs, or later my iPod, or the instruments that I had. So that was like the one constant throughout moving twice, 3 times a year. Like I went to freaking way almost more schools than like years of school, you know, just kind of like,
Damn.
yeah, you move a lot, and then always having the music there, it kind of became the thing that I was the most attached to.
Damn. So Evanoff is 3 people, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. You met them while you were studying jazz.
Well, yeah, sorry. I'll tell this story just because it's fun. Actually, the year I graduated high school, a couple buddies and I, we'd gone to music festivals before, so we were like, we're gonna do that instead of going to graduation. So I went to Wakarusa Music Festival, and that was like 2011, showing my age. And then I met this guy. He was wearing like the super cool Grateful Dead tie-dye, and he was beatboxing, and we hit it off right away when we were beatboxing together. Had a great time, hung out a little bit, you know, like a festival does. Then you go and meet other people and have more fun with them. And then the first day of college, I move into these dorms, and I'm from like, a bunch of small ranching towns. This is my first time living in a city, and I was just like, dang, I really don't know too many people down here. I walk through the dorms and into the back section where people are smoking and stuff like that. And there's this guy. We're both wearing the same freaking shirts that we were wearing the first day that we met. Instantly reconnected. We were living together by the end of like that freshman year, and then honestly, I've lived with the guy ever since. Yeah, I was like 18. So Jake, the drummer, is like, he's my boy, he's my brother. JJ, the guitar player, he was doing like the solo DJ guitar player thing. He's a great songwriter, so he would write songs and then do the solo thing with his guitar, and was crushing it. Always had a really cool light show. And then he had a bass player, and I think what happened was Jake, our drummer, also is a DJ. Him and JJ were playing the same show. And I remembered watching this band. It was then their bass player and JJ, and I was like, man, if they had a drummer, it would be so sick. Later, I ended up getting in a class with JJ here at UCD. So he showed me some of his music, listened to it the whole way home on the light rail. Was just so stoked. I was like, dude, this little, like, and he's younger than me. I was like, this young dude is like Soundtribe. You know what I mean? He's which is a, band that really has influenced me a lot. So I was like, this guy's great. And I showed it to Jake. I think a couple weeks later, Jake was in the band. So then I was even more of a fan, because like one of my best friends is playing in this band. So I'd go out and see all their shows. I was always just stoked, and then finally the chance came around. I think they'd gone through a couple different bass players, and they had asked me what I was gonna, what I wanted to do. I had just finished college, and I had some like sales job doing tech stuff. It wasn't anything like that great. It was like just the first thing I could do. So they brought this up. Do you want to go on tour? And I was like, oh yeah, this is no big deal. I mean, I thought about it for a little bit, but it really happened quickly. And then once I joined the band and started doing synth bass instead of like electric bass guitar, I think that opened up the music to be able to just explore more sounds that are popular in electronic music. Like the bass textures and timbres are like a big driving part of electronic music. So now that whole thing was open. And yeah, it's like the Cinderella story. You know, I saw this band a bunch. I thought they were really great. I would literally take notes at their shows, and then I got to join them a little while later. So it's really cool.
Dude, that's sick. And so there's you, Jake, and then JJ?
JJ Evanoff. The band is his last name because it was JJ Evanoff Experience, and then it just got truncated to Evanoff over time.
Okay, sick. Okay, cool. So now, do you guys all live together?
We do as of January of last year. Yeah, so JJ moved in this house. When I joined the band, I was like just moving out of my apartment because I don't know if you've heard this, but like there's not a lot of money in music when you're getting started. So Jake,
I've definitely heard this one before. There's $1 million for every one that make it.
Yeah, man, and it takes way more work, man. I thought at first, I just thought if you love the music, like if you really love the music, and if you took care of the music will take care of you. And like in a big sense, that's true, and I still think that's the most true. But there's so much more than music, dude, that goes into like being a band that can at least just like pay for some of the bills, you know, like part of rent, like make it so it's so when you come home after like 3 weeks, you're like, oh my God, you're not just like totally distraught because you can't pay for anything. So it takes so much more than just loving music. And I think that's one thing that this band has helped me see, that if we want to make this like sustainable, where we can really just give ourselves to the art day in and day out, and we don't have to, I don't know, I don't want to say like be bothered or like worried about.
I lost you. I don't know if it cut out the audio. Try muting and then unmuting. Oh, there we go. Boom.
Hello? Check.
Yep. Got you. Oh, no. Please hold while the next subscriber you are trying to reach is located. You see, sometimes, occasionally, we disconnect. And when we disconnect, we improv. So, what would we like to improv today? Well, first and foremost, I would say that this, at this point, would be the first time that I've had an artist on this show. And he's coming back. So, we'll dive right back into it. And probably not going to edit this portion out. I'm just going to accept that this is what it looks like. But this is the art of being an artist, right? Sometimes you're in the middle of drawing a beautiful line and adding coloration and pigmentation, and then your paintbrush slips and you continue going anyways. What's up, brother?
I'm back. Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. It said Zoom had a problem. I had to relaunch it, and we're here again.
It's all good. You allowed me to practice my improv.
Okay, cool.
It's funny. I haven't decided yet. So I think I've only had something like that happen one other time during a podcast. And each time it's happened now, I've just played it off like, and cool, please hold. Like we're going to go into like a silly little off riff. And I like kind of play with things until the person gets back. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to delete that or not, or just like let it be a part of the experience. So I just act like it's a part of the show at this point. So it works out.
Nice. I think you can keep this stuff. I don't know. And maybe I'm just like
I'm losing you again. It might be a connection thing. It could be a connection thing. And you know what? Sometimes we have connection issues. Sometimes it's our internet service. Sometimes it's because of other inexplicable shit.
Oh, yeah. Did it work?
I can hear you now.
All right, great. Okay, cool. So it didn't restart. Oh. Let me play with these settings really quick.
That's interesting.
I'm gonna play with these settings. I should be able to figure this out. One moment. Sorry about that. Check 1, 2.
I can hear you. All clear.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I have this application on my computer called Soundflower, and it's basically like it allows you to reroute the audio internally inside of your computer. So if you're working in
I think it's doing it again. So it looks like, I don't know if your software does this, but it keeps like, it looks like it's muting and unmuting like in rapid succession. It's really interesting.
yeah, let's see. Where's the settings, preferences, speaker.
Where's the the piss off button? Stop for now.
I think we got it now, right?
We roll with it. Roll with it.
Okay,
Roll
cool.
with the punch because you know that it's inevitable. Okay.
Okay.
Where were we?
Yeah, JJ moving in the house. So yeah, JJ moved in this. I moved in this house just because I couldn't afford anywhere else. Jake is super nice and gives me a great deal to live here, and to have affordable rent in Denver is a blessing in its own. I definitely couldn't afford this otherwise, so it's really great to be able to live here. Then JJ moved in, and then it's just been like the whole band's in the house. Plus, there's 3 other great musicians that live here. They're all horn players and multi instrumentalists, but it's a really cool creative spot. There's always something going on. There's always music to be heard through a wall or a window, or depending on what side of the house you're on, you're gonna hear jazz or like techno or dubstep or whatever. Everybody has eclectic taste and works on all different stuff. So I don't know, it's really special. It's a cool time in my life for sure. I'm sure I'll look back on this later and be like, man, that was important.
Wow. So there's 6 of you in that house?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yo, that is a lot of bro.
It's a lot of guys, and my girlfriend is here because of this whole coronavirus thing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people under a roof, a lot of different feelings, and this beautiful dog. Hey, Rody. Sorry, my pup's just coming out to say hey.
Man, that's sick. And I mean, in a way, it's like the off the road artist lifestyle. The fact that you're able to make what I am presuming is really like making your dream work. And you pointed out something I think is so great is the sometimes unspoken truth about pursuing one's dream is the road that is, this glorified idea of what it can be, but the process isn't exactly that. Like you're having to really take on the reality, right? Like figuring out money and you pouring your heart and soul. I can imagine that inside of just the music alone, but now the business side, which I'm sure you figured out along the way, is music is also a business. Like it's what you have to do, and being able to balance that and not allow that to block your creativity. That's actually a question I have, is how do you allow the creativity to flow and manage the stressors of what you inherently need to deal with in reality? So like, for me in this podcast, I'm a little over 20 episodes in at this point, and I'm soloing it, and I'm just like, oh man, having people to like bounce ideas off and energy off would be really valuable. And it takes something to persevere, because it's not just I hit this record button and it showed up. There's post-production. I know there's not nearly as much as what you guys get into with the work that you do, but it takes something.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like recently I took on like a lot of musicians. I'm going to start making videos.
It's cutting you out again. That's weird. As soon as you go to talk, it cuts you out, but the whole time you're good to go until you start talking.
Oh, can you hear me still?
I can hear you now.
Okay, crazy. I don't know why it keeps switching my default audio settings. Really weird. But yeah, man, it takes so much work just to make a dream come true. Yeah.
How do you keep your creativity fresh so it doesn't get blocked by the things that are happening in your external environment?
To be totally honest, I'm not the best at that. I'm not the best of about like absorbing or deflecting. Really, I wish I was better about that. Like if something is on my mind, if somebody I don't want to discourage anybody from not reaching out to me, but if somebody reaches out to me and they give me a problem, I like to fix things. I like to help
Same.
people solve issues. And like if something like that's on my mind, it's hard for me to focus and practice, let alone like write. Maybe I could channel that and I could write something about how I feel or about maybe how I perceive that they feel. Maybe that would be cool. Sorry, I'm talking this out loud. Should try that. But really, man, like
That's
the
how it
world,
works.
day-to-day life does get in the way for me a bit. And it's not really until I don't know my process. I don't know. Maybe I just gotta mull it over until I can let it go, or
Mm.
maybe I just get distracted by the music enough eventually to kind of like let it dissolve. But it's tricky sometimes to like stay creative and fresh. But personally, I'm not very good at being patient in the production and creative process.
Mm.
I personally, it's really hard for me to finish a tune by myself. Thankfully, I've got like this great team, and that like what part of what you're mentioning, doing it solo, man, I couldn't imagine doing something like that. Doing any kind of like one person creative business. Oh man, what a feat and a challenge, and I'm super stoked for you to be doing that. I'm really lucky to have these other two guys that I can bounce business ideas off of, or
Yeah.
somebody can say something and I could have an idea, but somebody else could kind of reflect it into a different thing that makes it so much more powerful. um, so yeah, I don't know, I guess just having a team and being cooperative, and I really like to just improvise. I think those moments are like the most special to me. Like that's why I play music. I'd rather not play the same song over and over, or learn a cover, or work on a tune that I have this idea and I want to build it out and make this whole song. Unfortunately and unfortunately, that's not me. I really like hitting delete at the end of every day, starting again, and doing the thing. I like the process. To me, it's like the active part of playing music is the best part for me.
Dude, this is actually really great. So here's what was happening for me during this, why I think this is so great. You were First of all, you were flat out honest about the fact you're like, honestly, I'm not always the best at managing my shit. I just, I do whatever I do, but like really like the thing that has me keep going is team. And like to me, that's invaluable because some people really do probably think that they thrive on, working alone. But if there's anything I've learned, this whole idea, lone wolf and self-made man, that's all bullshit. There's not a single, by very nature that your mom popped you out, you're not self-made. Like someone straight
Right.
up like made you first and foremost, second
Yeah.
and second most, like for you to humbly admit that like it takes team. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I said, I'm 22, 23 episodes and I just started editing the first one. I'm already like banging my head against the wall, like figuring out the process of editing because editing is not my thing. I am just like you in that I just want to be present. Like being a business owner has made me have to become everything that I'm not, which is really interesting. Yep, you see, okay, you get it.
Really, really hit. Yeah. No, absolutely, man. Yeah.
You totally get it. For me, I am like Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. He's
Yeah.
like an absolute whiz when it comes to what he does in marketing and branding and things of that nature. And when I look at him to a certain degree, I'm like, I identify with, if I could just be in flow, like naturally speaking. So like I do speaking, I do coaching and things of that nature. And ultimately like my mission really is to create an entire movement around people having a systemized way for them to find, follow, and live their truth, to get past all their bullshit and to ultimately step into their potential. And I naturally work off of flow. And what I've found is that I'm having to be the opposite, which is I have to have structure and I have to have plans and I have to edit. I have to do all these things. Like, man, if I just had like 2 or 3 people around me who could handle the things that I'm not inherently good at by nature, I have a feeling I would just fucking shoot in like into the galaxy of potentials. Because just like you shake here, like, yes, 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 I get that. I'm like, there's people like us, I believe, and it's all about self-awareness where we can say, honestly, I'm not good on my own. I get distracted on my own. I want to like tinker with my phone or go and look at social media and things like that to distract myself. But the second that I'm in the presence of somebody else, I am focused. I am diligent. I'm very into whatever it is that I'm doing, unless it's movement. Movement always gets me tuned in. Like I don't need any motivation for exercise and movement. Like I'm just going to go and I'm going to do that. Like I have that like just inherent in me. But when it comes to things that I relate to as being, I wouldn't necessarily say boring, but not my zone of genius, it's real easy to get off task. So I appreciate you bringing up the team, but also the humility, because I resonate deeply. And it's just another mirror to me saying, man, I got to surround myself with people whom can help to alleviate the weight that I'm taking on, because I'm doing the podcast and the content development for the business. And now I'm building on a separate movement around movement and everything. And it's great. Like I can do it, but how long can I do it by myself?
Yeah. Yeah, man, I feel that. And I mean, of course, then it gets more, it gets more, not complicated, but complex when you're working with other people. Like you have to work on like your communication styles, other people's like work styles. It takes a lot. But sorry, you brought up something. You're like, man, I just wish I had these other people to help me do all these things. What I've learned, or what I'm learning by doing all the music business side, like this whole other thing that I'm having to become, that's not the artist that I so like thought I was fully, and then I was like, man, you can't just make art like that. I mean, you can, one can. I don't want to stop anybody from doing that, but if you want to make a living at it, it's like you have to be able to shift gears sometimes.
Yep.
What I'm noticing though is I used to always think that the dream was you're an artist, you're really creative, you're an idea person, and then you build this team of managers and booking people and promo people. But what I'm learning by doing it is that nobody's gonna want to do that until, and not just that, until you figure out how to do it for yourself. And then even then, I think building a team like that, it's not so much getting help from them, but knowing.
Cut you out again. Cut you out. Yep.
1, 2.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, cool. I guess what I was saying is building the team once you kind of understand all the work that has to be done and just accept that there's not enough hours in your day to do all that work, and then plus the original project, like.
Lost you.
Check 1, 2.
I hear you now.
Crazy, man. Look at the audio guy coming in with all the
the guy with the musician, the audio guy, kid.
Well, I really do hope that chills out a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm going to play with one. No, yeah, see, everything looks normal on my end. I don't know why Zoom's hopping around. But, yeah, I keep going back to it, I guess. But, yeah, do you have another question, or sorry?
No, you're good. So you said having the team, because I actually think this is really great. So you're having the team and then figuring out the process. What were you saying after figuring out the process? Because I'm personally very curious about this.
I'm just saying that, like, to me, I'm learning that it's almost like I don't want to hire more, or don't want to have more people be a part of the team until we all have until just us, the core 3 members, or like one of us has a really good understanding of how it works in and out. And then you're kind of just like directing the other person and trusting them to do the work well. And then of course they bring in all their skills, and like you have to be open and listen to everything that they have to offer. But it's almost like you don't want more people. You don't want to rely on more people, I guess, and have them be like the machine until you really understand what that part is. And I guess I used to always think differently. Yeah, I thought that like everybody has their own specialized technique, and then you all team up, you make a super group. Now you're Captain Planet, you go conquer the world or save it or whatever, But you have to be your own Captain Planet sometimes, and you have to learn all these different facets, just so then you can be too busy, and then you give the job to somebody else. Yeah, I don't know if that helps at all, but it took me a while to be like, dang, maybe we don't want. We're an independent band. We've tried signing with like bigger managers before, and at this point, it's like I don't think we want to do that until we really know.
Got you cut out. Oh, I'm sure you're saying brilliant shit, but I can't hear you.
All right, here it is. All right, cool. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that, man.
It's all good.
All right.
So you said you didn't want to sign a label.
Yeah, we don't want to. Well, we might
Oh, and I lost you again. That's really peculiar. It's like the second that you go to talk, it turns off.
So weird. So weird. And you know what? I can also.
I can't hear you, so whatever you're saying.
Would be better. Check 1, 2.
Yep.
That's so. I don't know why it keeps jumping all around. That's so strange to me. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
All right, and sorry. What did you said last?
So I was mentioning at least right now, you guys are saying you don't want to have a manager,
Right.
a label.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to have a label which would basically, work with like the music and how it gets published and distributed, and then the management. I mean, I guess they have some to do with that, but that would be like, our 6-month plans, kind of like overseeing parts of the project.
Okay, got it.
But really, we don't want to do that until we really understand everything that needs to be done for ourselves, and then we can basically have management there to help us instead of us just being another project for this manager who has so much more going on. Like we really have to take it on ourselves to do the business, even if you do get signed to management. Like you have to know how to run the business for yourself, or they're frankly not going to help you out that much, or you're not going to be as important. And yeah. Sorry, I got lost.
No, you're good. So I think just deducing from everything you said, so we were pointing at the importance of surrounding yourself with people that really like elevate you to the next level, being able to put yourself in a hub where you're kind of almost like energetically playing ping pong back and forth with one another, and knowing that in a way that there should be like a limit where you say, okay, let us, the core group, really figure out and master the processes that are necessary for this to work on our own. Because if we don't understand it and we dish it off to somebody else, then now we put ourselves at risk, because what if that person has to, life happens and they disappear, or they don't follow through on their end and their commitment, or you haven't set the foundation for communication, team building skills and things of that nature. Now it might end up being more of a draw than it was an actual input. So I hear what you're saying about the importance of creating a strong foundation that you can stand from, so that way you're not burdening somebody with what you're doing versus just plugging them in and saying, here's what we've used to work this, bring your skills. And somewhere in the middle, there's a genius that can collectively help us focus what we're good at, and then you can do what you're good at.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's just part of the growth process. It's like you have to learn how to do it all yourself before you can get to that point where now you don't have to do that work and you can just focus on your strengths or your passion or your drive. But thank you. You put it much more eloquent.
Oh, I lost you.
And now it's back.
Yeah, we are.
All right. So it's just when I stop talking, I guess.
It's the weirdest thing, man. It is the weirdest thing. When you're not talking, you're just listening, is super good to go. But then the second you start talking, it's just like skirt, totally playing with you.
Yeah. Jeez. Oh, so weird. All right.
Oh, did I lose you again? I think I might have.
Okay. Is it working now?
Yes. Question: would it be easier to do it off your phone?
That's what I'm just wondering. And now I just popped open my sound preferences, and I'm hoping that that will fix it. If not, I'll throw my phone on the charger real quick, or I might just have to relocate somewhere. But
whatever works. And here we are, getting a backstage view of what it looks like in the day in the life of Brennan.
Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, this is where the magic happens, for sure.
And what are those things on the ceiling? Is that part of like the sound production?
Yeah, it's just to help like treat the room and try to get rid of some of the reflections. It's not the fanciest way to do it. It's definitely not the best, but it we have noticed that it helps. And even actually the curtain, which I guess you can't really see now, it's behind me. Once we added that curtain and kind of closed off the room, that definitely helps absorb a lot of the higher frequencies, like the splash of the cymbals or high-pitched guitar notes, and it helps the room sound a lot better. It's been really great to kind of finally figure that out over time. And the phone charger, sorry. Okay, cool. Well, it doesn't seem like we've had any dropouts since. So what I did, I just opened my sound preferences, and I just have that window open. So I'm hoping that just having that open will keep it from automatically switching back and forth like it was.
Okay. And trial and error. Eventually you get what you need to work. Yeah. That would be a weird little hack if that like fixes like, oh, I have my sound preferences open, that fixes everything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just because I wondered, well, I mean, so from just what I noticed is that it seemed like the computer was just getting confused and then switching audio inputs based on, the mic level, I guess. So I figured if I just keep this in the front of its brain instead of in the back of its mind, maybe it'll, like, if it's paying attention to it, maybe it won't drop the ball.
Okay. So what were we talking about? We were talking about, okay, no, you were mentioning, actually, I think I might have lost my train. Oh, I was summing up everything that you were saying and putting it all together. And then you were saying something and I didn't hear it fully.
Oh, and that was about it. I was just complimenting on you and on how well you were able to put my rambling together.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah.
Okay, cool. So actually at the beginning of this call, you asked me the general go-to question, how are you doing? I mentioned like my life's fucking awesome, but it's been like waves of, ups and downs and like going through bits of like depression, anxiety, like the honest truth, just like really like figuring things out and getting clarity about the direction I'm going in my life. And you're like, oh, if we're being honest, man, like I'm feeling like shit. And you were sharing about what you guys were doing yesterday. So actually I want to hear a little bit more about that. So you guys obviously are you a part of the Twitch movement right now?
Well, we're getting into it. Yeah, I'm figuring it out. I just started to plug my Instagram handle, Brennan Plays Keys. I just took that, put that on Twitch. So now I'm doing just like all improv sessions on there. Where I'm just kind of forcing myself to like share things that aren't perfect. Just kind of get up there and jam, do 100% improv, live looping, electronic music. And if something doesn't work, then what? I just change it to something else. I'll just start playing something new. I don't have to stick with it. And then just kind of being more open with that. So Twitch has been cool for me personally. And then the band has also been getting more on board with it, especially now with the way that COVID kind of shook up the world and then the music industry, especially. I guess now we're really, really down for the Twitch and the live streaming thing. Cause that's the best way of connecting or being able to perform and still connect with people, even though we can't do it at a venue. Yeah.
Heard
Sorry.
that.
Sorry, the question was.
No, actually, I was just at. So I.
Oh yeah, yesterday. Yeah. Okay. No, this explains why I'm so spacey. Okay.
So, by the way, guys, everything is going to be prefaced and everything's going to make sense right now. Everything you've been waiting for, making everything make sense of this entire conversation. Here we go.
Okay. The reason I'm so brain dead is because yesterday was Tuesday and Cinco de Mayo. On Tuesdays, Evanoff, our band, does a weekly live stream where we hop on and perform for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on like how people are, if they're engaging and they're telling us to play certain tunes that we really want to play, or they want us to jam, then we want to do that. So sometimes it gets longer. Point being, yesterday we did a special one outside on the front porch. So we did like a more like acoustic type Evanoff set, and then JJ had the great idea of allowing people to buy us drinks if they want. So basically they would donate $8 to our Venmo and buy all of us in the band a shot. And people were very, very generous. And I said thanks a lot begrudgingly because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so sloppy. And it turns out, yeah, people donated a lot. And I feel like crap today just because way too much tequila. I was so drunk. Like, but it was just like the term wasted, and not to get on to anybody, like, but like, oh, I wasted so much time last night. Like there's hours of the night that I don't have that, and I'm sure, oh man. Yeah, I think I was rude a little bit to someone, which is it's pretty out of character for me. And was just a whole so it was a whole mess. And now I'm feeling all those things and thinking about like, God, what did I say last night? How did I say it? Did I mean it? Like whatever, and
I didn't mean it, I swear.
yeah, man, I got affected by my choices is what happened. So yeah, so that was a mess, and now I'm brain dead for today, but that's okay. I'm gonna get through it and drink a lot of water and be better tomorrow.
I hear that. I hear that. So if you had to guess though, because I'm curious, like people were donating, but if you had to guess, how many shots did you end up having to? Because I'm guessing every time they donated, you guys took a shot. Which hell,
Right.
if that was 10 people, just 10 people is a lot of shots.
I mean, and that's the shitty part is like what I remember is it's about like 5 or 6, you know. And we had enjoyed a margarita like right before we started, so I was already like, a little loose. But yeah, I think there was like 7, 8, maybe there was 10. I know there was a couple rounds where like we took 2 because there was 2 people that donated.
Oh no.
I don't know. It was just
That was never a good idea.
it was no.
You guys all got really messed up. It wasn't just you, right?
Oh no, yeah, it was all of us. Yeah, it was. Yeah, all 3 of us were just. We were laughing about it today. We were all waking up. I think I woke up just out of like the hangover at 9:30, like ready to go. But everybody else is crawling out of bed like 11, like still really crusty eyed and like
crusty eyed.
No, like yeah, the house is funny today, but yeah, choices. But it was a good time, and I do like the music part of it. I like that we were outside and kind of pushed ourselves to get away from the computers and me, all my tools and like the Max for Live stuff that I make, like not having those tools to rely on changes the way that I play with music a lot.
Really?
So it was cool. Yeah.
That's sick. So
yeah, it was good to be outside.
How has COVID specifically impacted the direction of your guys' business? Oh, that's interesting. I'm hearing myself.
Weird. Yeah, this is so funny. I'm watching my like stuff and yeah, it all seems to be working. That's weird. Okay, sorry. What did you just said?
Yeah, so what I was saying was, how has COVID impacted the direction that you guys are going? So like, oh, we were going on tour, but then we decided to go all in on Twitch. Or how are you guys managing what you're creating in response to COVID?
Well, I mean, it was just that. Like, we had this whole like, 3-4 week Midwest East Coast tour set up. Maybe it was 5 weeks, but I mean, it was like a whole lot of shows. It was actually going to be our first run that was maybe going to be profitable. I might have had some money coming home at the end of it instead of like
shit
being, just breaking even and getting back and getting on the grind and doing the Uber thing or lessons or whatever, other freelance type stuff that you can do. So yeah, we had finally put together this whole tour that was going to work. We were going to make some money. We've been promoting it well. We had a bunch of people excited. And then that just all came to a halt. We were about to play like our biggest headlining show to date here in Denver at the Cervantes Masterpiece Ballroom. It's like a 1,200 person room. So we were really, really excited to be able to play, in a room that can hold that many people, and then hopefully have like a really big party. And like literally a week before everything started shutting down, and we realized that we weren't going to have the show. So it was hard not to have the hometown show and then not to have the tour after that. But what we realized is that we needed to get on the live streaming thing, that was like the best next way that we could play for people and still be able to keep ourselves sane, keep this thing going. Not just like, you can't, I mean, and luckily we've like made the investments for like some of the hardware that we have, so we're able to do the live streaming thing. And I'm really thankful that wasn't like an upfront cost. I'm sure a lot of bands had to like throw down a lot of money really quickly in order to get the live stream thing up and going, and thankfully we didn't have to. But we decided just to go all in on that. We're also doing like a book club every week. So every Tuesday we'll get together and we're reading this. It's a wonderful book. It's how to succeed in the music business, or something, along the lines of that. Ari Herstand is the author. Really great guy. Or, based on his writing and what he's willing to share and his podcast and everything, he gives a lot of great information and connects anybody with a cell phone to some of the top industry professionals, and you can get their perspective So it's like it's really important for us right now. So we're kind of just like honing our craft as a business, you know, working on like the art of that and talking about that every week and kind of making steps. And we have like solid, you know, meetings where we come up with a bunch of ideas, we make an action plan. The next couple of days we're all like clicking away at these different lists for all kinds of stuff, man. There's yeah, the music business side of it can keep you really busy for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I guess so. Just kind of like being sharp with our management stuff, being able to self-manage ourselves, and just writing new music. You know, looking forward to that. Collaborating more with the people that we live with, which has been really great, because we didn't get the chance to do that as much when we were just home for, you know, you're home for 6 weeks and you got to prep before this next big show. It's like you kind of just get stuck working on your own music and like, you know, life, relationships with people and eating food and like all the other stuff that you have to do. So it's been great to have things kind of not slow down, because they're definitely not slowing down, but just kind of change their rotation. I don't really know how to put it. You know, it's like things aren't really, they haven't stopped or changed. They just kind of, they're working on a different curve or
They
something.
shifted for sure.
Yeah. So it's been cool to just be a part of that and have all these other bands kind of doing it too, and we're all talking. You know, we're on the phone helping each other set up live stream stuff and troubleshoot, and it's cool to kind of get closer with some of the Denver bands, even though we're literally not hanging out or seeing each other at shows or going to each other's shows. I'm talking to other people that work in the industry way more now than before, because we're all, you know, we're all freaking out and trying to figure out what's the next move and what's going to happen next. Are we doing drive-in concerts? Are we doing virtual massive festivals with like VR? Or like what's this industry going to turn into?
I wondered about that one. Virtual VR concerts. I wondered about that.
Yeah, man. I don't know a lot about it. I know, I guess like there's a game, Fortnite, super popular, and people are doing big EDM concerts on there. I also heard that somebody made, there's another, I don't know if it's a game or a program called Roblox, I think. Somebody designed, he basically made Red Rocks. So now that there's a virtual Red Rocks, and they're going to try to start hosting shows there.
Of course, so brilliant.
I think creative people are going to get creative. You know, I think now's the time when you get pushed into a corner or you have some kind of like limitations or parameters to work in. I think that's when creative people really start coming up with new stuff. Yeah, I think it'll be a good thing for the art community, even though it's really tough right now. It's on bands and venue owners, bar owners. Yeah, I mean everybody. You know, it's a lot of different things. I know it's tough for a lot of people, so I try not to get too focused in on, oh, it's so tough for the music industry or for the artists right now, because it's like, yeah, it's tough for everybody. But it's funny being a part of a community that's so close knit and so unsure. I guess.
Yeah. I was talking to someone today and he said something I thought was really great. He said that art is the product of chaos, and how in a way prior to COVID, we have our ideas of how we think life works. You're like, this is what I'm doing. But then all of a sudden, all it takes is something in the unseen to have every single person who's following their Google Maps have it go rerouting like 100 fucking times, because where you thought you were going is not where you're going anymore. And it completely throws you around. And the people who are creative, the ones who are committed to figure it out, and the ones who really aren't committed, well, then, you know, they don't do what it takes. And in a way, it's like weeding out. It's interesting. It probably is a process of weeding out the ones who are really wanting to share something. Because there's people like you guys, is like, you know, I can get that there's a real heart-centeredness about what you're creating. And now it's all right, it's time to go to Twitch, or all right, now it's time to look at VR. It's time to see what's available and make it happen.
Yeah.
So what do you guys see is next for you?
I mean, that's the thing. I used to be blown away at, you know, just ideas of the future and be like, oh, I can't imagine what it'd be like 20 years from now. Frankly, I can't imagine what it would be like 4 years from now. You know, it's
I lost you.
Check 1 2. Sorry, I hate that this might make it a nightmare to edit. I really do.
It's all good. We'll figure it out. It'll definitely be my biggest challenge yet.
Oh no. Oh gosh. So what I was saying is that we're gonna keep grinding, keep writing new music, trying to hone the management side, so that when we do come back, when we're able to get back to all these different cities that we've been able to make friends and have relationships in, that maybe there's more people that know about us, more people will come to the shows, more people that understand like our general mission and vibe, which is just I don't know, connect people or to give people right that feeling that I was talking about, being able to detune or not detune, but to tune out from the rest of their day, just be in that moment at a concert, a part of a community that's all there, getting that same kind of like cathartic experience of feeling music, feeling the energy, not thinking about, not to say that it's meditation, but in a weird way, it's like if you're not thinking about all these other things and you're focused on one thing, you can still get some of the same benefits out of it, I guess. Granted, as long as you're not, like overdoing it on the drinking and the drugs and making yourself feel terrible the next day,
Yeah.
then it's all good. Yeah.
Heard
Yeah.
that.
So we just gotta keep pushing, man. And like you said, I think it is gonna, I don't know, maybe not weed out, but I wonder how many people are still how many venues are gonna be left at the end of this? How many booking agents? Like how many people
Wow.
who, when it's already so hard, and I feel like as an artist or a musician, like there's already a big element of, or at least for me, of self-doubt and of like, even at when you're halfway to success, you're still not making like anything. It really takes so much work. So I can imagine people who are struggling financially or like emotionally with that uncertainty of like financial stability. If like you can't just be all right with that, I could see a lot of people being like, you know what, I'm gonna change directions. I'm gonna do something more stable, more solid. And then I think other people are just crazy enough that they you don't want to give up. You keep pushing and you say, hey, maybe maybe this will benefit us somehow. Not like benefit us somehow, but maybe there's a way that we can take the most of the advantages that this situation brings. Yeah. Just make the most of it.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, because you're pointing at it, just sometimes it takes being crazy enough, because there's going to probably be a larger percentage of people whom won't make it out of this in the same form that they were before, which, knows, maybe naturally for some it ends up, deteriorating something that was never meant to be. So that way they can actually, alchemize what that was and create it into something newly. Because I think that, from what I'm hearing, there's a potentiality for one of the largest recessions we've ever experienced, and it's set to also produce one of the largest number of millionaires as well. So it's just like it gives space for other things, right? In any process of passing, any transmutation, when something dies or passes, or the end of a book or the end of a chapter, right? That page flips. Now there's a new space for creation, and if you're willing to be crazy enough to either restart or continue going, those are going to be the ones who make something that inspires them.
Woo. Sorry, there's a bee that I must smell good today or look like a flower. Oh my goodness, he's all up on me. I'm sorry, bud. Scoot around real quick. Oh yeah. Sorry. That oh man, I'm awake now. Hot dog. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be hard, right? It's as hard as you make it, I guess, or it's as hard as you let it be. And yeah, you just gotta push through if you are crazy enough to really want to try to do this artistic lifestyle. Yeah, you gotta be okay with not having a lot of things, and some of those things aren't like just the tangible. I think it's just like the stability. You gotta be okay with like, it might work, it might not, but I'm gonna go all in, and until I go all in and prove to myself that I can try as hard as I can and still fail, then I won't quit. As long as I know that I could have tried harder, or that there's something more I could do, or like a better way to do it, then I can't really give up on it, or else I'm always gonna know that. I'm always gonna know I could have tried harder or been better, or worked a little bit longer at it. So I kind of just got to do it for myself too.
I hear your commitment, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it wasn't a choice, or maybe it is a choice. It doesn't feel like a choice sometimes. Sometimes you just, I don't know, you feel like you got to do it, just because what else is gonna make me feel this way, or how else can I make that many other people feel that way? You know, it's like that. Those moments are just so important to me. Yeah.
If people are wanting to get connected with you and really hear your music and hear what you guys are up to, what's a good way for people to connect?
We're on Facebook, of course. If you just look up Evanoff Music, you'll probably see Evanoff, and then you'll see JJ Evanoff right below that. And then we're on Instagram at Evanoff_music. That's right. We're on Twitch, I think, as Evanoff_music. And then we're all over Spotify, Apple Music. I don't know if we're on Tidal. That's the only one I'm not quite sure about. But anywhere you listen to music, YouTube, you'll find the stuff. Just type in Evanoff. Check out Golden Hour, the tune that you mentioned, or our new song Allium. Has been really, really fun. It's like funky, but then we have this like gnarly dubstep part at the end. So that's been a great track to be able to share with people. But yeah, loads of new stuff is coming out of this quarantine for sure. So
sick, brother. Awesome. And for anybody listening, if you could leave somebody with one thing that they can take and apply into their lives to, who knows, maybe it's to pursue that thing they've always wanted to, or to keep going when the going gets tough. What is one thing that somebody can do to keep going, or to maybe even pick up something new?
Keep going. Okay. So I guess ask yourself why you got into it in the first place. Maybe. I think reflecting back to that moment, and being even when things are hard and it doesn't make sense, or seems like it won't make sense, just kind of reflect back to like that first moment where you said, hey, this is what I'm going to do with my life, and why did that mean so much to you then, and can you do that for other people? Yeah, I mean, I think it's take yourself out of it, like think about what you could do for others through the hard work that you're putting in on yourself. And I think that's what keeps me driven. I think that's what keeps a lot of people driven. You think about, once you have other people to worry about, or that once you care about other people, then like stuff that's hard on you isn't that hard, because the other people are more important. Yeah. I don't know if that's the best thing to say, but
no,
yeah,
I got it, man. Having something larger than yourself to care about, knowing your why, knowing what compelled you in the first place to go down that journey, and having people and things around you care enough about to make those sacrifices. I get it. I really get it.
I think that's what it's about, man.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you being here, man. Technical difficulties and all, it was all part of the process.
Yeah, man. And let me know. Hit me up if you need some Premiere tips.
Oh, I'm speaking of technical difficulties. You cut out right there. Imagine that.
It was like, oh, I'm about to sabotage this.
It's like, I'm gonna sabotage your ending. You get nothing.
Yeah, if you have any, I'm learning too. So if you have any questions, or if you're working in Premiere, let me know. I can try to help. But
hell yeah, brother. I appreciate you. And for anyone who's listening, thank you for going on this journey with us, and riding the waves, ups and the downs, and whatever it took for you to get here. Appreciate you. And as always, continue to find, follow, and live your truth. And as always, follow the wolf within you. How? Peace. Thank you so much for listening in. If you got value out of this message, we would love it if you subscribed and shared it with your tribe, so we can continue to share this message and this medicine with people all over the world. Much love and peace be with you.